In this video, I'll demonstrate how to quickly and easily write a soap opera sequence for email marketing. This will be both a copywriting tutorial in terms of how to use copywriting formulas and how to draft and edit and revise copy to improve it and test it, and also a ChatGPT tutorial. And if you use a different AI writing tool, you'll probably be able to use these same prompts as well, especially if it has a chat interface. If that sounds good, please like the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, share it with anyone you know who might find it helpful, and leave me a comment to let me know which part of this tutorial helped you the most. In email marketing, a soap opera sequence is typically 5 emails that you would send over 5 days, usually as an autoresponder or a campaign, which means they're emails that are sent automatically when someone signs up for your list or when they trigger some other automation. You can do a 3-email soap opera sequence or a 7-email or expand it further than that. But the main autoresponder sequence that most people talk about is 5 emails long. And you can also do a soap opera newsletter format email, which would be a standalone email that you could send to your list or a segment of your list at any time. And if you don't have a copy of my ChatGPT marketing prompts list yet, I recommend using the link in the description to sign up for access to it. I just added 2 new commands to the list, which are the soap opera email sequence command, which is a 2-part command, and a initial copywriting voice and tone command, which you would use at the beginning of a chat where you're writing conversion optimized copy. So it works in the same way as the NLP friendly SEO content prompt does, which is something that we went over in one of my recent videos. And so if you visit the landing page that's linked in the description, then you can sign up to get access to this Google Sheet. I recommend going to File and then Add Shortcut to Drive, because that way you'll be able to access this easily from your Google Drive so that you can always get the latest version when I add new prompts or update existing prompts. But you can also go to Make a Copy if you want to create your own copy of it in your drive that you can edit, because you won't be able to edit my version. You can just view it. But if you want to make a copy of it and then work on it, or make a copy of it for some other reason, then you can just go to File, Make a Copy. And if you don't use Google Docs, then you can go to Download and download it in whatever format will be most useful to you. But assuming you have a Google account, I definitely recommend going to Add Shortcut to Drive, or you can add it as a bookmark if you really just don't use Google. And I already went ahead and walked through this process, and this prompt came together very quickly for me, probably because I have a lot of experience writing these. And what I did is I started with the copywriting voice and tone prompt at the beginning of a new ChatGPT session. Then I went to the main soap opera email sequence prompt right here. And then I used the follow-up prompt that's in this column under follow-up prompts in order to finish writing the rest of the copy. And so here is my ChatGPT conversation. I've got it blown up a little bit so that it'll be easier to see. And the initial voice and tone prompt has 6 variables, although some of them are optional and you can add more if you need to. So we have tone descriptor, which could be something like friendly or authoritative or convincing, or you could also describe what you want it to sound like, such as sounds like fatherly advice or sounds like a close friend. The customer avatar, if you don't know what your customer avatar is and you don't have an equivalent to that, such as a good breakdown of your target market, then I recommend watching one of my videos on how to make a customer avatar. The offer variable is the product or service or offer that you're promoting. And then we have a variable for brand or author. So basically whatever the sign-off name is, whether it's the name of the brand or the name of an individual, that's what you're going to put there. And then we have a variable for a brief description of the brand or author. So for me, for example, it would be owner of a small marketing agency or something like that, depending on the context that I want to provide. It could also be a copywriter or a marketer, something more simple like that. And then we have the optional variable of further description, where you can say what the author is known for or what they like, or anything else about them that you want the AI to have context for when it's writing your copy. In one of my most recent videos, I demonstrated how to create an online course using a free software. I'll put the link to that video in the description. And the course that I set up in that video was called Attitude of Gratitude. And I've still got all of that set up in System, which is the which is the software that I use to create the course. And if you want to learn more about that, I'll put a link in the description about System as well, and where you can get a free account. And the first prompt worked fine. So then I moved on to the first prompt of the 2 that I used for the email copywriting. And the first soap opera sequence email copywriting prompt, and most of this one is just reminding the AI how to write this type of marketing sequence. If you're using ChatGPT, it knows what this is, and most other large language models will probably know as well. But this is just to make sure it's going to be on the same page as you, so you can customize this if you want. And then the only 2 variables in this one are the offer it's going to be promoting and the customer segment. So this could be your customer avatar as well, but if you're targeting a specific segment of your customer avatar, then you can modify it here. And then the second prompt for the soap opera sequence is just write 2 alternate headlines for email, and then the number of the email followed by body copy that works with all 3 headlines. So instead of just having 1 headline, you'll now have 3 headlines that you can choose between, and you'll have email copy that will work with any of the 3 headlines. And I used the first soap opera sequence copywriting prompt here, and it gave me some pretty good headlines for the 5 emails, but I wanted to improve them a little bit first. So I said, write a simple list for the 5 headlines, but rewrite them to make them 44 characters or less and more personalized and compelling. So one thing I noticed about the initial headlines was that they seemed a little bit cold and impersonal, which is why I asked for them to be more personalized and compelling. And while it isn't always the case, generally speaking, shorter email subject lines tend to get higher open rates. So I asked it to keep it under 44 characters, but obviously you don't need to use that if you don't want to, or if you want a really short headline to try and get as many opens as possible, then you can reduce the number of characters. And so it gave me these 5, which were a little bit better than the initial one, but I wanted to customize the first one. So I did a slightly modified version of the second email writing prompt. And I said, for email 1, use the main headline. And then I provided my version of the headline that I liked. And then I said, write 2 alternate headlines for email 1, followed by body copy that works with all 3 headlines. And so I got that in response. And this was actually quite well written. It starts off with a very good hook. It starts off with, can I share a moment with you? And so that's already like a very personal kind of a thing to say, but not really unprofessional. And it immediately draws them in, especially when it then goes to the anecdote, which is a big thing in soap opera emails. There's always an element of storytelling. And when you write a soap opera newsletter, which is a standalone email, then generally what you have is hook, story, offer, cliffhanger. And I actually have a hook, story, offer ChatGPT prompt on my ChatGPT prompts list. So remember to get access to that if you haven't yet. And a standalone soap opera email or just general email marketing is typically a hook, story, offer, cliffhanger. And one of the reasons that it's called a soap opera sequence is not just because of storytelling, it's primarily because the way that soap operas are written, they always start the episode with something that really makes you want to watch, and then they end the episode with something that makes you want to watch the next one, or a cliffhanger. And so when you're writing a standalone soap opera email, it would be hook, story, offer, cliffhanger. But because we're doing the 5 email soap opera sequence for autoresponders, it's a little bit different. But this was a really good hook overall. And the way it did it here is it has a little emoji along with the link for the call to action. And that's pretty good. But if I wanted to, I could ask it to include 2 call to actions. So it would like have the link twice with different anchor text, because sometimes that can increase the click-through rate. With an email this length, it's probably fine to just have 1, but you could fit 2 in there if you really wanted to. And then I went on to write 2 alternate headlines for email 2, followed by body copy that worked with all 3 headlines. I just used the standard prompt for that one. And the rest of them worked really well also. And so I won't read through all that because that would take a long time. And it would be better if you just grab the prompt and start testing it for yourself. Try customizing it different ways. Try using different prompts in between the prompts that I provided or in addition to the prompts that I provided. And these emails are actually quite good. So I think I might copy all these into a document and turn it into a template that I can share with my email subscribers. I'm not really going to turn it into like a lead magnet. But if you're already on my email list, or if you join my email list today, then just reply to any of my emails and let me know that you want the soap opera sequence email copywriting template. So it's basically like a sample that you can use or something that you can rewrite if you find that helpful. Sometimes it's easier to rewrite something from a template instead of starting it from scratch. So I'm not going to create a landing page for these or anything. Just sign up for my email list with the landing page that I link to in the description or any other landing page. And if you're already on my email list, you don't need to sign up again. Just reply to my last email or my next email and let me know which of my lead magnets you want that you don't already have, and I'll just send those to you. All right, that was your soap opera sequence copywriting tutorial for email marketing autoresponders. Hit the like button if you're still listening, and I'll talk to you in the next video.